My most recent video was more of a hypothetical, as we truly genuinely don't know what's going to ultimately occur with the next stimulus check. In the last video, if you haven't seen it, the link will be down below in the description. I covered the fact that none of the 4 executive orders that Trump signed this past weekend cover or even mention a stimulus check. So in the last video, I hypothesized, but I also used some evidence of when we can expect the next check, how much it will be, how much dependents we'll get. You could see all of those details in that video if you haven't seen that video yet. And if you haven't seen the video where I covered all 4 executive orders, then you can go ahead and also view that video. The link will be down below in the description. I'll also pin it to the top of the comments in the comment section. So in this particular video, the goal is to cover in great detail how much you could expect more under Trump's executive order regarding the payroll tax holiday. You'll be happy to hear that if you go back to work or if you're already working and once this payroll tax holiday is implemented and effectively put into law, you'll be happy to hear that your paychecks will look a lot bigger than usual. This specific executive action is technically a memorandum, an executive memorandum, and it will actually suspend the collection of Social Security and Medicare taxes from your paychecks under your employer. This action suspends the collection of these taxes from your paychecks from September 1st to the end of the year, and it's for workers who are making less than $4,000 on a bi-weekly period, so about $2,000 a week, or $104,000 per year. Numerous lawmakers on both sides of the political spectrum do not agree with these actions whatsoever, especially the Democrats, because it will further gut Social Security and Medicare. Both social programs were already in danger because of the pandemic. Republicans and Democrats alike also say that it does not help Americans who are most in need right now. People that are unemployed will not be able to benefit from these cuts. Now, it's also entirely possible that employers will not come through and comply with these cuts, and these taxes will have to be paid back one way or another at a later time. The payroll tax deferral also isn't, as of right now, not technically an actual cut. Under the current legislation, it is just a deferral, so it would have to be paid back at a later date. So many people are suspecting that it's essentially just pushing back tax day so that way you wouldn't have to pay your taxes until a further time. But nevertheless, the president has been calling for and vying for payroll tax cuts from as long back as last year. He's been calling for it, and now he finally has them. So if you make less than $104,000 per year, if you're fortunate to have a job right now, then your paychecks could look bigger from your employer. So how much will this payroll tax holiday actually save you? Well, for those who are not aware, every payday 7.65% of your wages are subtracted from your paycheck to fund Social Security and Medicare, specifically 6.2% for Social Security and 1.45% for Medicare. Your employer pays an equivalent amount of tax. For 2020, the Social Security tax was only levied on the first $137,700 worth of earnings. However, an additional 0.9% Medicare tax is collected on wages over $200,000 for the year. So under the president's executive order, specifically the Social Security portion, that's that 6.2% of your biweekly salary, if your biweekly salary is less than $4,000, will not be taken out. Now that doesn't mean that you're not going to still have to pay income tax. That will still be taken out. However, your paychecks will still look just a bit larger. So let's do a hypothetical example here. So for example, someone making $10 per hour and working 40 hours per week will get about $25 more per week, or around $100 per month. From September through December, that will add up to be about $446. A full-time worker making $15 per hour will get approximately $37 more per week, or $149 more per month, and $670 by the end of the year. For someone making, say, $25 per hour, the savings will be about $62 per week, or $248 per month, and $1,116 through December. Now, since the executive order does not apply to biweekly wages above $4,000, the $137,700 wage-based limit for Social Security taxes does not come into play. Now, the objective of this executive order is to inject more money into the economy, get consumers spending, which you know that money will be taken right out of people's pockets, as they are going to have to put it somewhere, whether it be towards their mortgage, whether it be towards products and consumption or necessities of life. That money is not going to be saved. It's going to be put right back into the economy. So critics claim that because that is the goal, payroll, this would actually be a slow way of doing it, because it will take a while for that payroll tax holiday to get people more money into their pockets. So lawmakers on both sides of the aisle do agree that a stimulus check would actually be a better way of doing this, because it would get money into the hands of Americans a lot faster. So that's what your paychecks could start to look like if your salary matches any of those above numbers and examples that I just mentioned. But who would not qualify and would not get a tax break under this executive order? Well, obviously you're going to have a paycheck to benefit from this payroll tax holiday, because it has to do with your paychecks. So if you're unemployed, retired, a stay-at-home parent, or you don't have a job for any of the other reasons, then you will not be able to take advantage of this payroll tax deferral. And this is truly the foundation of the argument against a payroll tax holiday by both Democrats and some Republicans. They believe that the people that need the most support will not be helped by this order, and therefore the best way to go about this would be to further that stimulus check. It would be to extend those unemployment benefits, and it would also mean providing local and state aid from the government. And also, like I had mentioned, there's a large hovering question mark over the Social Security program, which is already having a lot of financial issues. Payroll taxes fund Social Security, and people are concerned about the long-term effects of diverting money away from the safety net for seniors. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, however, does say that Social Security funding won't drop, and money will be transferred from the federal government's general fund to the Social Security trust funds to cover any payroll tax amounts not collected. This is all according to Mnuchin. And there's still potential issues with this executive order, because again, it is not a true cut. You will have to still pay these taxes back in due course. What it would take is actual congressional action in order to erase and eliminate this tax debt that's going to be on American shoulders for an unknown period of time. So as a result, some employers may still hold back the taxes that would go to Social Security in order to avoid and circumvent a large tax bill that would eventually come. This is a bill that employers would have to pay back themselves, or by withholding a large amount from workers' paychecks. Now, the president's executive order specifically directs the Secretary of the Treasury to explore avenues, including legislation, to eliminate the obligation to pay the taxes deferred. And Trump said that he would, quote, terminate the suspended taxes if he's reelected. But at this point, there's no telling if the eventual payment of the deferred taxes will ultimately be avoided. And with less than 3 months to go to Election Day, Trump has now promised that if he is reelected, he will permanently erase and eliminate the payroll tax. So that is something that you could see in his second term if he is elected. Now, if Biden gets in the White House, presumably the payroll tax cut would still go through to the end of the year, as Biden would not be sworn in until January of 2021. But under a Biden administration, there's absolutely no way that he would agree with a permanent cut of payroll taxes, because he encourages funding Social Security and Medicare. That is the Democratic agenda. And by the way, I did do a video a while back covering what a Biden economy would look like. You could see that video, the link will be down below in the description. But I do want to, before Election Day, do a video further covering what a Biden presidency would look like. I think it would be definitely interesting to explore that idea. So in the end, there's only a few scenarios that could happen here. Number one, lawmakers block Trump's executive order and they stop it from ever being implemented. Number two, Trump's executive order stands as it is and the taxes are deferred for a period of time, and then eventually Americans and employers would have to pay them back. Or number three, and this is totally unknown as Congress is still debating and negotiating a next stimulus package to include a stimulus check, they could go ahead and go through with having that tax being eliminated, and then Americans and employers would not have to pay it. I am intrigued to know if you agree with the president's action of suspending a collection of the payroll tax. Let me know down below in the comments. Let's keep the discussion going. If you don't agree with it, what would you like to see in the next relief bill? What would you want to see in there that would get money into the hands of Americans? If you do agree with it, tell me why. I want to hear down below in the comments. But at this point, we'll have to wait and see if the payroll tax cut does go into effect starting September 1st, that date that Trump's executive order does state. So we'll just have to be patient and wait and see what happens. But I hope you did enjoy this explanation of what your paychecks would look like if the payroll taxes do come to fruition. If you did, give this video a big thumbs up, smash that like button. It'll just support me and help the YouTube algorithm. YouTube will push the video out to even more people, so that way they're in the know of what would happen to their paycheck. So I do appreciate when you do that. It greatly helps me out a lot. And if you'd like to see more videos from my channel, I do post videos every single week covering business, finance, investing, entrepreneurship, mindset strategy, and tips and tricks. I also do these stimulus package and stimulus check updates just like these. So if you want to see more videos from my channel covering those topics, go ahead, feel free to hit that big red button, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified every single time I make a new video, so you're first line to see it before anyone else, go ahead and click that little notification bell as well, so you're notified every single time I make a new video. Looking forward to seeing you in the next one.